welcome to Turn the Page, the official podcast of the Syosset Public Library.
Well, my name is Kirk Fox, and the book is called PALMDALE. But I love the fact that you said I've had a career. I've never thought about it as a career. I think I'm just a tennis pro at heart. So to hear that movies and stand-up, that was exciting.
Oh, I'm so glad because you were in a lot of things that I really enjoy. I feel like Parks and Rec is a really obvious one. A lot of people really love you in that role, and I do too. But you're in one of my favorite TV shows of all time, which is Deadwood. Uh,
Oh, I was in Deadwood, not long, but I certainly remember being shot.
yeah, it's very memorable. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had a role where I haven't been killed or on my way to prison or I've just gotten out. So I seem to have my lane, Jen.
It's a really great set of characters though that exist in that lane because like your character in Res Dogs is so great as well with like a really beautiful arc, like really, really good.
Kenny Boy was probably my favorite
Mhm.
on Reservation Dogs. I wasn't supposed to be there as long as I was. It was supposed to just kind of be a prickly character, some cactus dropped into Sterling Harjo's world, but I didn't know what I was supposed to be, so I just kind of led with love and kindness, and then they decided to keep Kenny Boy around. I think at first he was supposed to just be a character who was pretending to be native. I think that was his lane, but I never knew it was supposed to be pretend. So in my heart, I was, and as the show progressed, even Sterling, the creator, he began to think maybe I am, maybe Kenny Boy is native, and so we never answered it, but I certainly thought I was, and I think that was part of the charm. Is wait a minute, is he native?
Yeah, this it's
So
such a great.
that was great. I'm doing a new show with Sterling right now. He's doing a show called The Lowdown with Ethan Hawke, and that's also on FX. And first season is done, and we're shooting second season right now. And I'm going to slide in. Kenny Boy's going to make it in there, but he's no longer Kenny Boy. But I certainly think I have Kenny Boy always in my heart.
Oh, that's so great. Yeah, he really is such a very sweet character, and I do love that that question doesn't get resolved because I think especially for the story that that show is telling, it doesn't really matter in that moment. He's just a good soul, which is really nice.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to live in life. Is you can let the viewer decide what something is.
Mm.
Resolution is overrated
Yes.
because you never really know who's giving you the answer. So you have to decide within yourself these days what's real and what's not. So even a resolution is still up in the air,
And I
I
think
feel.
that's good storytelling too, because when questions get answered neatly and wrapped up, like it's kind of easier to put it aside and forget about it. But when you're left with lingering questions and those unresolved bits, I think that the story stays with you a lot longer as you think about it and your interpretation and all those kind of things. So I like stories that don't answer every single question.
Yeah, I like it when a filmmaker or a writer gives us a chance to figure out where it's going. Because you'll see that in a lot of books or movies, even the writer or the director, they don't really know where they're going at first. So you can kind of a good movie, you're along for the ride.
Is that
And
how you
you can kind of feel it. Those are the movies that touch you where you're learning with the characters.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Is that how writing this book felt? I was really curious in general about how how writing a book felt versus the other types of writing you've done, because I know that you've written for stand-up and other things like that, screenwriting. What was the process of a novel writing versus what you're used to kind of working on before that?
Well, with the novel, you realize you have to keep going. With a joke, you can get to a spot where there's a laugh and you could be done with it. But personally, I like to keep going as far as I can to the point where, okay, there's no more laughs here. Some of my jokes can end up being 15 minutes because I just can't stop tagging it, and it'll go on a different road just because of something I said. A tag can become another joke. So when I was writing Palmdale, that's kind of what happened. There was a few little short stories and some paragraphs that they just kept going. I was writing it during jury duty, which is a TV show I was on a few years ago, where everyone was in on the trial except for one gentleman was taken on a ride. But I had 8 hours a day on to be in a courtroom in a jury box with a fake world. So while I was sitting there, I just started scribbling this book. So I found a way to utilize my time. But I've been writing my whole life. I write every morning and I scribble, and whether it's a journal or a note or I just like pen to paper. Whatever, just that feeling of seeing something. And I love it when a pen runs out of ink so I can decide what the last word is going to be. So there's, what's the last thing this pen wants to say to me? So that's kind of writing is a friend of mine. So I thought it was time to just maybe put it all put it all on paper, and of course all those characters you love, they're basically me. So I wrap them all into Joe, this PI. I'm a PI at heart.
Did I read correctly that you have actual experience as a PI for a time? Did you?
I think every one of us on the planet has experience as a private investigator, whether you're researching a friend or a sale at Nordstrom's. I think we're all private investigators. I was a tennis pro for 15 years in Beverly Hills, maybe longer. I started stand up a little late, and I did some PI work for friends, and there was always something I was looking into. I even had a daytime talk show on CBS called The Test, and I was a host. It was Maury Povich, Jerry Springer, and Kirk Fox. I did 140 episodes of conflict resolution. So every day I was investigating something that was resolved with a lie detector test. So yeah, I've done some PI work in my life, and some of those stories, made their way into Palmdale.
That's so interesting because I think the things that make you a good PI might be the things that make you a good writer too, to some extent, because you have to be a little nosy about people's business and a good observer of character and things like that, you know?
Yes, and that's kind of the way I live my life. As a stand-up comedian, you take in the world and you find your angle in. The angle of attack is crucial. Just like flying, you don't want to be too steep too quick. So I like the slow climb of life, and that's why writing this book seemed to be a real fun journey for me. I have an 8-year-old daughter now, and I just kind of imagined if there had been some problems and I left and I didn't see her for 15 years, and now we're working on a case together. So that seemed to be an easy fit for me. I just pictured my daughter in 15 years. As testy as she is now, I can't wait to see what she's like at 24. So that's kind of what inspired this book.
Interesting. It is like a really great dynamic between Joe and his daughter Billy, who's also an investigator. And so much of that comes out in the dialogue. And I think in general, like this is a book that is full of like really great, really funny dialogue. And I think that has to do again with like observing people and character and stuff like that and getting a sense for how people interact. But so is that, do you feel like is where you feel at home when you were writing a novel? Was it like the interactions between characters? Like, was that really fun? Like, because it's fun to read.
It was fun. The tricky part for me in this book was not making it a comedy. Comedy is a real easy lane for me to dance in. So I wanted to keep some of the grit of reality, and it's a little, it's a little offbeat, but then so am I, and so is the world. So I wanted it to be grounded, and I just wanted to imagine, a real situation between father and daughter. So I think my mission was to not have Joe be a stand-up comedian. So I was always pulling back the reins. I do comedy every night. My brain's angle is comedy. So I was trying to go more with my heart and just drop me in this world if I was a PI and just living in Palmdale and just kind of it's kind of the fantasy that I have in life is to walk away from everything. So I just kind of wanted to get that in there and then realize that if I was to leave my family now, I'd certainly miss them. So I wanted the book to have heart, and murder and mystery and it's a noir. I like Humphrey Bogart. I like PIs and those old Mickey Spillane novels. It's just that's kind of I think the appeal of Palmdale is
Mm.
it's old school, but it's fresh. It's taking an old private eye from the 40s or 50s and dropping him current day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I kind of live, Jen, I kind of live in the 40s or 50s. I feel like I'm just a kid trying to make it in the 90s. That's how far back. That's how stuck I am.
It's a great place to be stuck, though, I think, because I also love the noir of the 40s. And I think that, like, bringing up the 90s is really apt, too, because that was, like, I think, a great era for, like, I guess they were calling like stoner noir at the time, like with Big Lebowski and stuff like that. And noir was kind of being expanded in different directions. And I think this book does a great job of balancing the grittiness, but the heart as well, and like the relationship at the center as it changes. It's just like a really like well balanced because it also feels very intimate like between this father and daughter, but also like it is international in scope too with the way that this sort of the mystery at the center kind of gets blown out. So it's really a good balance.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the minutia of
Mm.
life because I think within the minutia is the biggest things. So that's kind of, between the lines is where I'm dancing in this. I just kind of want the reader to have a chance to go on a ride at their own pace. I wanted to make sure it wasn't heavy-handed. I didn't want it to have any real message except love,
Mm.
and that's kind of how I lead my life. When I go on stage, I always say love. Just as I'm walking to the stage, you just try and love them and hug them with my words.
Mm.
That's kind of where I just want to give the room a hug. I want to hand them words on a pillow, not a rock. And so that's kind of this book feels like, hey, here's some words on a pillow, and then you can just enjoy it as you go.
Mm. I really like that leading with love as an idea that as that centers like your life and also has guided your career in a lot of really interesting ways. Did
Well,
you
I'll tell you, Jen, every morning my dad would say, Get out of bed, stand on your head, take a deep breath, and say love.
Mm,
So
yeah.
that's what I that's how my day started, my whole life. He'd say, "Isn't it wonderful?" And we'd say, "What?" And he'd say, "When we as Earth planet travelers become aware of our relativity with the great universal life force." So this is how I was greeted every morning. My dad was a handyman, and I grew up in San Diego, and he'd go into La Jolla every day and build shelves. And I think that's what led me to tennis. I grew up not surrounded by money, but I certainly gravitated toward it. So I've always seemed to find myself around it. Even if I didn't have it, I certainly was welcomed into it. So I was teaching tennis in Beverly Hills. Every movie I got was through tennis.
Oh, wow.
My first 10 movies, because I was teaching tennis to the director, they
Oh,
put me in their movies.
that's really lovely. And I think that it's a nice message for an era where people are so career focused and just sort of like, I need to stay on this one track and look at this one thing. But this sort of openness to that, like all of your experiences and interactions might bring you where you want to be is a nice way to live, I think.
Yeah, Jen, when people ask me what I do, I'm a simple tennis pro. That's always what will guide me. My fantasy is to just go back to teaching tennis. There was something I enjoyed so much of just getting a tennis court, buying a case of tennis balls, providing a service, being handed cash, and just going home.
Yeah,
So part of the joy of that is, I'd love to just go back to that.
yeah.
I think it's just eliminating
Mm,
clutter, you
mhm.
know. So I movies and TV, and I've done 100 movies and 30 or 40 TV shows. And I'm on a show now, but at the end of the day, I'm just a tennis pro. So that's why there's never been too much want or need
Mm.
in my life. I travel light. When I fly, I'm basically the only carry-on.
Nice.
I wear the same outfit till it falls off. I had to find this shirt, and it was deep in a closet, but I would have been happier just in a t-shirt and denim.
Mm.
The minute this is done, this shirt will go into the back of the drawer.
Well, I
I'm
wish
upset that they'll try and bury me in a suit. I
yeah,
tell them to
put that
just
in your
leave
in
me
your
where
directives.
I tell them to leave me where I drop, Jen. Wherever I fall, let nature take its course.
Yeah, plant a tree, that's nice, I think.
That's it. I do have I want a Viking funeral.
Ooh, yes. Yeah.
I thought it'd be nice. I've even told some friends to start taking archery classes. So they would put me out on a raft and shoot arrows at me. And that's kind of the way I want to go.
It's a pretty cool way to go, I think. And it's both dramatic and sustainable, I think, for the environment. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm with you. I think cemeteries are certainly a waste of land.
Yeah. Yeah.
Certainly a waste of land. But my fantasy is that they shoot the arrows, and as I'm burning, the current brings me to shore, and then children roast s'mores in me. I thought that to me would be a fun barbecue.
A celebration of life, yeah, for sure.
Yes, and marshmallows.
Yes, and marshmallows. Equally important. Ah. So, do you think this is a world that you'll spend more time in? Do you think you have more stories for Joe and Billy?
I definitely do. I'm taking Joe down to San Diego for the next one, and there's some things that happen down there that I'm gonna spend some time with. I'm gonna definitely bring more of Joe's dad's history into it. I think I'd like Joe to be telling Billy more about his father.
Ooh.
I think this is a rekindle. I I haven't seen her in a long time, so it's time to take her to San Diego and show her where I came from. So I think that's definitely where the next one is headed.
Oh, that's
I'm
great.
I'm already dancing in it.
Oh, nice. I can't wait to see it. And I'm,
And
you know,
Palmdale will of course become a movie or a TV series at some point.
I hope so. It seems like it would translate very well. There's a definitely a cinematic quality to the writing and the pacing. It's like both like pacey and very readable, but there's also a kind of like relaxed feel to it sometimes. I don't really know if I'm explaining it right, but it's a good vibe.
Yeah, that relaxed feel is me.
Mm.
You seem to be relaxed even talking to me.
Nice. Yeah.
So that shows me that you feel safe, and that's kind of what I like about this book
Mm.
is that it's you can sit down with a friend and read it and you're going to be okay.
Yeah, absolutely. You go a couple dark places, but you're safe as you go on this journey with these characters, and it's a good
Well,
it's
the world is a dark place.
hmm
So if we dance in there, it's obvious you're going to have to dance in there if you're alive in this world. So the key is if you're going to dance in the darkness, you want to know where you're going after the dance.
yes.
You know, you can go to a dance and you want to get out of there, but you'll remember that dance and you'll feel better when you're home safe with your cocoa.
That's true. Yes, it throws into contrast the more peaceable moments, and it validates your safety in the end in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't turn on the news or walk outside and it's everywhere.
hmm
You just have my mom would always say walk like a panther. That was always her wherever I was going, walk like a panther. You know, they're always looking around. And I think that's how I've navigated life. And I just put it in the pages of Palmdale.
Oh, that's great.
I think at the end of the day, Joe's just wants to protect his daughter as hard as he is and maybe a loner at heart. At the end of the day, his priority is Billy.
Mhm.
And I have an 8-year-old daughter that seems to be at the top of my list of things I care about. So I may pretend I'm floating, but I'm certainly keeping an eye on her.
Oh, good.
She's always close enough that I can keep her above water.
Nice.
And if you can't, that's life. That's the tricky part.
Mhm.
There's no guarantee.
Yeah. It's trying to maintain an even keel, no matter the waves, the lows and the highs, and just being there, the presence. Yeah.
Yeah, what you just said is one of the greatest, acting notes that I received from Lawrence Kasdan when I did Wyatt Earp, which was my first film
Oh,
that
yeah.
'cause I used to teach tennis to Larry and his family, and I hadn't done a movie, and his acting tip was be supple like a reed in the stream, bend but do not break.
Mhm.
So you just kind of go with it. And that's kind of the where I like to I ride the middle of life. Uh, I'm not swayed by praise or blame. So that seems to be where I live. So that's when you say just go with the waves. You let the current take you and it'll land you on the shore eventually. It's
That's
when
true.
you fight it that you get into trouble.
Yes, when
Life's
it's
a riptide,
prolonged.
so you can let the riptide take you out to calm waters and then you swim diagonally and then you can make it to shore. It's when you fight it that you end up drowning.
It's true. You prolong your own misery when you don't accept it, or at least, recognize that it's there. And I think, I not only got really interesting insights into your career, but like a whole bunch of really good life advice out of this interview. So thank you.
Yeah, you just trust you're enough and you trust everything has led you to this moment, even this moment that you and I are having. You're supposed to be here. and everything led to it. So don't worry about that. And it's same with if you're caught in a riptide, you're where you're supposed to be. So just let it take you. It might be 10 more feet, and then you're to calm water. We never know how far we have to go before we can catch our breath.
Yes, absolutely.
It could be 5 feet. It could be right outside that window is where you might catch your breath. Bump into somebody that has a kind word. That's why I talk to everybody. You never know where you're going to get that little nudge or a little kernel that you can put in the book. Most of this is just from people I bumped into or stories I heard or someone that asked me to do something and I knew I shouldn't. And then I saw the result. And, that might be what this whole book is, that someone wanted me to do something that I didn't. And then I saw the result. And I'm certainly glad I didn't. And now it's in there.
Well, it's a lovely book, and I think you metabolize all that experience in such an interesting way and create a very memorable story. So thank you for taking the time to talk to me about the book and your career and all of the great things that you've done. It's been really lovely. Thank you.
Well, Jen, I really enjoyed talking to you, and you're definitely you're a bright light.
Oh, thank
I
you.
I feel that you're where you are supposed to be.
Thank
Even
you.
if you think you're not, trust me, you are.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. And thank you, listeners. Please check out Palmdale. It's available now. It will be available when you hear this at the beginning of July. So please go to your favorite
It's
bookstore.
available everywhere.
Yeah.
Wherever books are sold, you can find it and give it a read. And I'm easy to find if you want to reach out to me and say you like my book.
Nice. Yeah. I will tell people to read it and follow up. So
Yeah,
thank
Jen.
you.
Hey, and Jen, watch The Lowdown. If you liked Reservation Dogs, you'll really like The Lowdown. It has a lot of heart, and Ethan Hawke's magical, and Tommy Lee Jones plays his father this season. So
Oh, wow.
it's Tommy hasn't ventured into television for 20, 30, maybe 40 years. So there's a reason that he's back in there. He loved Reservation Dogs.
That's
And Kenny Boy. He loved Kenny Boy.
Oh, I love hearing that. That makes me that makes me love Tommy Lee Jones even more, honestly. I will
Yeah.
definitely be watching The Lowdown. It sounds really great. And I just I could have spent a million more seasons in the world of Reservation Dogs. So having this is like a
Yeah.
nice
Sterling
change.
Harjo told the story that he wanted to tell,
Yeah.
and he got out on his own terms. And, it wasn't canceled. He just was ready for a new chapter.
Yeah. Which I always respect. I think it's hard to end your story when it's at peak popularity. Um,
Yeah.
and be well. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
Jen.
Alrighty. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us. It is now time to close this chapter.
It's time to close this chapter of Turn the Page. Join us for the next episode.